everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name's Meredith E. Phillips, and I got a very exciting email in my inbox. It's an editorial letter from my editor. I'm very excited. Here it is. It's on official letterhead and everything. So, in case you missed it, quick little recap. I got a book deal. And I've got to get my book ready to be published. I feel so incredibly lucky and excited to be in this position, and I finally get back to work. So the last in real time vlog that you got, I think, is me finishing the first draft of a different project back on October 13th. I finished that draft, very exciting. And my plan at the time had been, okay, well, I'm gonna put that aside for a week or two and then I'll get started on draft 2, right? But in the middle of finishing that draft, that's when all of the stuff was happening with getting a book deal. So I didn't want to start trying to work on draft 2 and work on it for a week and a half and then have to put it aside to start working on Rogue's Guide again. So I just haven't really done anything. I haven't done any real writing since the 13th of October, which feels like forever ago. I have been very bored and I'm very excited to have a project to work on again. So this edit letter is 4 pages long, I think. 3.5 pages long, but a good chunk of it is just nice things. So a bunch of the stuff / all of the stuff in here, I think pretty much all of the stuff in here, are things that we talked about on our initial call. And so there wasn't anything in here that was oh my gosh, this is a shocking surprise. And I really love a lot of her suggestions in here. There's a few things where I'm okay, I like the suggestion and I understand what she's pointing out as an issue within the book. And I'm still trying to mull over how to fix it. So anyway, I literally just got this last night and I read it before I went to bed. And then I actually, you saw, I printed it out this morning. I was highlighting, thinking about stuff, made a little note in my Scrivener document about the different main bullet points. So I need to do just a little bit of brainstorming, thinking, which direction do I want to go for some of these ideas in here. And I will say too, I really love how she's presenting all of this. I feel the way she's wording these suggestions are literally these are suggestions. If you don't agree or you want to do something different or you want to talk about it, she's making it very much, it feels very collaborative. This does not feel in any way like she's telling me you have to change it so that it is like this instead or something like that, you know? And also in terms of what are these changes, I feel most of these are pretty, there's some backstory elements she wants to kind of dig around with and play with and change a little bit. There's some motivation factors that we're gonna enhance a little bit. When it comes to the plot elements, I feel there's really just 2 main things that she's pointing out. It's nothing major. It's not oh boy, this entire subplot is the worst and we're changing this huge element of the book. It doesn't feel like some major thing here. So I'm really excited. I'm really pleased with this and I'm really looking forward to getting going, which I already kind of did this morning. So I have a 4-day weekend on my hands. Obviously we have Saturday, Sunday here coming up, and then Tuesday the 11th is Veterans Day, which is a holiday here in the US. But I also decided I'm just going to take off Monday because as of this moment, the government is still shut down and it's slow anyway. Nothing's going to be happening on Monday. So I was I'm just going to give myself a 4-day weekend. So this literally dropped at the most perfect point in time because I've got 4 full days to work on this. So my goal for this weekend is to basically just organize my thoughts and prep for actually making the revisions. She also, the other thing I need to think about, and I think I already know this, but she asked me what are you thinking in terms of a deadline? When can you have this done? And again, I really like how she was asking this. I feel no pressure. There isn't anything this has to be done in 6 weeks. Chop chop. There's been nothing like that. So I am thinking right now that I would like to have this done by the end of the year, end of December. And then I want to give myself a week to read through the whole book again from start to finish and just try to see, like, does all of this flow? Did I miss any little detail, you know? So I'm gonna say my deadline for this is gonna be like the end of the first week of January in terms of like when am I gonna give it back to her. And then after that, we'll be doing some line edits, and then it'll go to copy edits, hopefully at the end of February is what we had initially said. So yeah, I mean, I'm so excited for absolutely every single step of this process. It's been so fun so far, and I'm ready. So I'm gonna do a little more organizing over here of my thoughts and go from there, I guess. Let's go. Actually, I lied. I wanted to show you my Scrivener setup first in case that's of interest. So let me show you my setup over here. So as I start this new draft of the book, this is going to be, in my mind, draft 10. So I actually was curious, like, wait, what were all of the drafts for? So I went in and just did this quick list showing what each draft was and how I differentiated between them. So there's that if you want to pause and read. But essentially what I do is I keep all of my drafts in the same Scrivener document. So I have used this Scrivener document and just renamed it draft whatever at the top. And I've kept all my old drafts in here. So when it's time to do a new draft, I simply duplicate the last one, and duplicating it creates a new file that I rename draft the next one. And then all of the scene and, you know, all of the writing is right in here on this side. So my first task, like I said, is going to be to go in and kind of reduce this down to the key points. If you ever get an edit letter or even just like feedback from critique partners or beta readers, it can be really overwhelming when you're faced with multiple pages of information, and a lot of the information in here is not something I need to use or reference most of the time. So this is kind of like those old math problems we all had in like 3rd grade where they're like, you have 2 blueberries, 4 strawberries, and 7 raspberries. How many blueberries and raspberries do you have? And the information about the strawberries is like completely irrelevant, right? You have to know which information to use to answer the question being asked. So there's more information in here than we actually need. So what I did this morning, like I said earlier, is I highlighted the pieces that were like, here's the main stuff, and then I transferred these notes into this document, this little separate revision notes document here in Scrivener. So as you can see, there's not like too much here necessarily, which is great. There's a few pieces in this notes document that I need to like think through and decide, okay, wait, how am I going to fix this, or how am I going to solve this issue, or, you know, how do I want to take the revision? So I do need to do that first. But when I'm done with that, what I'll do is I'll put the editorial notes on one side with the split screen, and then I'll come over here and pull up chapter 1. And on this side, what I'll do is I'll just tab down a little bit, and I'll start doing like literally a bullet point checklist and be like, change this thing, do this better, or whatever. And then as I revise, I can actually go in and just delete these or just cross them out like with a strike through or something like that. I also like to keep track of my word count from each draft, which is just data. You don't need to do that, but I enjoy it. And then this date here is the date in the story, like this chapter 1 is taking place on January 7th, which is important to me to know what date we're in. So anyway, that's how I have Scrivener set up. Just come in, Jade. Come here. There you go. Hello, it's Saturday. So, what am I doing? What a great question. I did a little bit of work last night after dinner. There was one part of her notes specifically where she was like, ooh, I kind of want a little more, like a little bit more information on this included in the manuscript. And I was like, no problem. I have lots more information. So I was just making notes to myself on that. I think really what I want to focus on right now are the two main parts of the plot where she was making suggestions on how to improve it. She has some good, she has a good idea for how to resolve this one particular issue. I like it, but I also don't know how exactly to fit it in with like the rest of the plot. So, and I'm also not sure, I need to do some research and see like, is this a thing that actually happened? I don't know. So yeah, I think I'm going to start with that because that's the thing that's really like, depending on how we address this issue will determine exactly how much revision needs to be done earlier in the book. I'm going to start there and see what I can figure out. So I'm going to be doing some research, some brainstorming, some fiddling, and we'll see what we can do. Nahan is helping too to make sure I can't get out of my chair. So I literally have to work because I'm stuck here. Just after 11. I'm not finding what I want to find. I want details that I don't know are possible to retrieve. I just need to keep researching. I think I need an example so that this, like, I don't know, makes sense in my head as something that's real. Like this is something that actually happened. I was close at one point with like a dinner that was hosted at the Royal Academy prior to the opening of the exhibition in 1811, which is when this story takes place. I thought briefly about shifting the timeline of the whole book and like pushing things back so that the climax of the book could happen at this dinner. But that messes up some other stuff, so I don't really want to do that. Let me keep looking at a few things. I have a few other things that I just thought of that I could like look into. So let me keep going with that for at least another hour, and then we'll go get some lunch probably. I'll get there. This feels like the book right now is a Jenga tower, and if you pull out one piece, you got to be real careful about which piece you're pulling out because you don't want the whole thing to collapse. So I'm carefully observing the tower at this point. Nobody's taking anything out. We're not putting anything on top. We're just trying to figure out the best course of action. So let me look up a few more things and see if that helps. Okay, now listen, hear me out, okay? Okay, so don't laugh at my architectural renderings over here, but I think this is pretty fun. Okay, so the idea that I'm trying to go with is like the opening of an art gallery, and we're gonna have like a grand opening kind of thing. And I was trying to think like, what kind of art gallery could this be? Because at this point in the book, there's also the Royal Academy's exhibition, which is an art gallery essentially. And I feel like it would be weird to open, like if you had invested a crap ton of money into a new museum and you were going to have a grand opening, why would you have a grand opening at the same time as this other fancy art gallery? Like you could, but it seems like you would want to wait until that was over to then be like, hey everyone, look at my cool thing. I don't know, maybe not. But anyway, I was like, I don't know. So this is an art gallery, but it's a panorama. I just found this and I think it's so cool. So one thing that was really popular, apparently, I need to read a little bit more because I was like skimming through a bunch of these articles like, this is awesome. So apparently something that was very fun and popular were panoramas where artists would create these enormous, literally panoramic views of London, of Edinburgh, of Malta, of like all these different places. And it was these huge, 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 like floor to ceiling paintings. And it was like a 360-degree view of whatever this place was. And you could go, and they would, of course, have to be housed in circular rooms in order for it to be like a 360-degree view, right? So there was a famous one that opened up in Leicester Square. And I'm trying to see, like, were there others or what's the deal? But the Royal Academy is not exhibiting panoramas, okay? They don't have that kind of space. So I was envisioning, like, you know, these are humongous pieces of art. So where are you going to put this? You can't just put it in a square room. You'd have to have a custom built place for these pieces to go. And so what I envision is a square room, a square building, and on each corner there are circular rooms off of that main square room. Then you could have 4 different panoramas in each one, and people could go and, you know, view them or whatever. And then I also have a couple smaller, like, rectangular rooms that could be used for any other kind of, like, art exhibition that you wanted to put in there. Displays of some sort. So anyway, I think this will work. And that's very fun. Like, it's not just, I don't know. I try to think of, I don't know. I didn't want just an art gallery. I feel like that's kind of, like, that's fine. But I really like this idea of a panorama. So I'm gonna play with this and jot down some more ideas. What time is it? Oh my gosh, it's noon. I didn't even look at the clock. Maybe I should get lunch. I have a live stream at 1. So that's in an hour. So let me pause. I'm getting excited because this is a very fun idea. And there's like, you can look at one. I'll try to link it below. It's at the Metropolitan Museum in New York now. It's a 360-degree view of the gardens at Versailles in France. And it's really cool. Like, it's so big that there's so many little details in, like, the figures, like the people that are in it, and the details in, like, the landscape and all this kind of stuff. Anyway, I'll link it below if you want to, like, look at what one of these would have looked like. They're very cool. Like, I can't think of anything. I mean, we have, like, IMAX 360 for, like, movies and stuff. I feel like this is sort of like that. Anyway, let me get lunch and chill out for a second, and then we'll come back to this. Okay, lunch is over, and I've still been thinking about my panorama idea here. So it seems like most panoramas at the time were like cityscapes, or there were a bunch with like Napoleonic battle scenes and stuff, and like things like that. And so I'm gonna say, this is so unimportant, and on the one hand, like, this is at the very end of the book, this doesn't really matter. But I'm having so much fun. Okay, so I'm gonna do like more of a natural, like, portrait painting things. So like, one will be a night sky scene, and one will be like an underwater in the ocean scene. One will be like a big cavern, like underground cavern cave situation, and then the fourth one will be like a woodland forest kind of scene. So I feel like in all of those, there would be so much opportunity for, like, little teeny details all over the place. That would be so cool. All right, I want to actually, like, go to this. I want this to be real that I can go to. Anyway, all right. So now I've got to figure out, if this is my idea, I've got to figure out how this works at the end of the book. I think it will. I just need to, like, you know, jot down my ideas of how this is going to fit with the earlier parts in the book, so that it, you know, isn't this random thing at the end. But it's almost 1:45. I need to go do what? I need to get ready for this live stream. That's going to be starting in like 20 minutes, and then we'll keep working on this during the live stream. Perfect. Hey Hey everyone, future editing Meredith popping in here. This seemed like a good place to do this since I'm doing the Patreon live stream, but I haven't had a new in real time vlog for you guys in a couple weeks. And so I've had a couple new folks sign up over on my Patreon, which I'm really grateful for. So thank you very much to Mo, Nia, and Nathan. I really appreciate your support. And thank you so much for signing up over there. If you want more details about the Patreon, the link is always in the description. Okay, the sprints are over. The live stream is over. I think I've figured out this panorama situation. So I've made some notes to myself about that. I haven't gone into any of the chapters and actually tried to pinpoint oh, okay, we need to change this and this and then whatever. I haven't done any of that yet. It's just notes. I moved on to the second main plot thing that were in these notes, and I'm really not sure what to do with this one. Okay, so this book has stacks of wagers. It's wagers on wagers on wagers. And her suggestion is to simplify that a little bit. I would not be opposed at all to simplifying how these all fit together. I'm just not sure how to do it. There's one way I can see how to do it, but I don't like what it means for the revision. It would mean cutting out certain things that I don't really want to cut out, and I don't know how that would make it better. You know what I mean? So I'm still thinking about those. Yeah, anyway, I'm still thinking about that. I'm going to take a little bit of a break, stand up, eat a little something. It's almost 3 o'clock. And then we'll come back here and continue trying to figure this out until I figure it out. Okay, so maybe I'm going to take a little bit longer of a break. It had warned me 2 hours ago that it was low, and I was like, that's fine, I'll plug it in later, and then I just didn't. So anyway, I can't use the mouse. That's fine. It's 4 o'clock. I'm still thinking over the wager situation, and I have some other stuff I can do around the house, really thrilling stuff like laundry and grocery lists. So I'll get some of that done. I'll let my mouse recharge, and I'll either come back here a little later today and poke at it a bit, or tomorrow sometime. Anyway, I'm taking an extended break because my mouse is dead, and I'll see you later when I'm back to writing. My gal is fully charged. Thank you. Well, mostly. It was at 93%, and I needed to start using it. Anyway, it's basically charged. We're going for full-on cozy vibes today, all right? I've got on one of my favorite shirts that is just the most cozy shirt ever. I've got on my lounge pants. They're delightful. I've got on Animal Crossing, aquarium, ambient sounds. I've got my candle, which we are fixing. Whoops, there she is. She had been tunneling, and I'm trying to fix it. So anyway, what am I starting with today? I feel like I really need to figure out the wagers situation, because that's such an integral part of the book. If I do change that, then I need to figure that out now, because that's going to have a ripple effect on a couple different things. So I'm going to start with that. I've been thinking about it. I haven't come to any conclusions yet, but that's what I'm going to start with. So let's turn on our hardcore thinking brain and get working over here. All right, so it is 4:30 in the afternoon. I've been sitting here basically all day, banging my head against the wall with these dang wagers. So I think I'm about to email my editor and be like, hey, I can't see a way to pull them apart and reduce them without like collapsing motivations for other characters. Does that make sense? Like I said, I think in that first clip from today, like I'm not opposed to changing them or simplifying things. I just don't know how. And she has one suggestion in this edit letter, which sort of works, but then it messes. There's another aspect of it where I'm like, it kind of ends up making the hero look kind of like a jerk a certain way. So anyway, I'm going to email her and be like, hi, I'm struggling. And again, I think I said this yesterday, like the way she has this written, it's very clear. Like these are suggestions. It's not like you have to change it because I said so. It's not like that. So I feel a little weird, but also I feel like I can approach her and be like, hey, let's talk more about it. I think what might need to happen is I need to be more clear about who's motivated by what within the story. I think that might be the bigger issue at play. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to email her and be like, here's where I'm struggling, and see where we go from there. And then I think I'm going to be done for today because I'm just like so tired of looking at this. And I feel like I haven't done very much. Did I do anything? I did a little bit. I kind of bounced around to a few other portions of this and made a few notes in other sections, which was good, but it was pretty minor stuff. So anyway, let me do this and then I'm going to be done for today. I'll see you tomorrow, Monday, because I took the day off. Very excited. So I'll see you then. So it's actually like in the 40s right now. It's literally freezing for Tejas. It feels good, but not like I want to stand out here for a super long time, you know what I mean? Also, that dog keeps barking, so I'm gonna go inside. It's Monday, by the way. All right, let me go in. But it feels good out here. At least it feels like, fallish temperatures. Although it's supposed to be 80 again, like later this week, so. So hey, good morning. We're back here again. It is actually like chilly, and it's like chilly in the house. I haven't turned on the heat yet. So the house right now is sitting at about 66 degrees. But this is not the same shirt as yesterday. This is the sweatshirt version of the long sleeve t-shirt I was wearing yesterday. Okay, so anyway, I'm very cozy. I'm gonna get my little lap blanket over there. Maybe even some little like hand mitt kind of things because my hands are freezing. Anyway, last night I sent off that email to my editor to be like, Lil. And she's like literally the most awesome person on the planet. She just emailed me back like 20 minutes ago and was like, ooh, okay, wait. She was like, never mind. She was like, keep things as they are, but enhance like this element so that it's like, she had some great ideas for how to just like tweak it a teeny bit so it would be more clear, I think. Yeah. So anyway, I loved her ideas. It's perfect. I'm going to get working on that. And then that was like the biggest piece. I was still like, I don't know what I'm doing. It's fine. I actually know exactly what I'm doing.
In a much more real sense, I had no idea what to do.
I think there's only one more piece. Where was it? 1.5 more pieces of like stuff to figure out, but it's more like, ooh, add just like a little bit more of this element, a little bit more of this element. And it's just sort of a matter of like figuring out where I can do that and how I can do that. And I don't think that'll be too difficult. So anyway, my plan for today is what? I'd really love to like finalize my ideas on things and then start actually going into each chapter and being like, what do I need to change here? And making notes in that way to myself. I do have a meeting later this afternoon with our financial advisor. So that should be pretty short. I don't think there's anything major we need to do, but that's happening. The other thing I know I need to do, or I'm pretty sure I need to do, is like get a CPA. And like, do I need an LLC? I don't know. I'm just a baby. I'm just a baby. I don't know what I'm doing. But I've heard that that's maybe what you should do. Because I know like you have to pay taxes, obviously, on like your advance and stuff. I haven't gotten any of that yet, by the way. But I don't need to piss off the IRS. Right? Let's not do that. We don't need to do that. So I need to like figure out what I'm doing there. Anyway, that's a whole other issue. but it's on my mind because I'm like, I think authors like do quarterly taxes and stuff. I don't know, and I don't really want to know, but I'm going to have to know in order to, again, not make the government mad at me. So, yeah. Anyway, let me get to work over here. It is 9:20. I spent the morning buying Christmas presents. I think I've gotten basically everything. There's a few last little other things I need to get for certain people, but I can't say too much because I think most of them watch these videos. So that was going well though. Let's get going. Let's get going with this project and make some headway. Portland Place, not a square. All right, it's almost 1 o'clock and I think I've answered or addressed all of the various things in this edit letter. Good for me. So now what I need to do is go into each chapter and pinpoint in this chapter, here's what you need to add, delete, change, whatever. Then I'll have a very clear bullet list, checklist of things to go in and fix, and then we can actually go in and fix them. I'm hoping this won't take me a huge amount of time to go through. I'm thinking like if I can finish by the end of tomorrow. I don't know if that's unrealistic. We'll see. It shouldn't take me like a huge amount of time unless I run into like a plot hole issue or something like that, but I think I should be pretty good to go after this. So let's make ourselves a little checklist. She's still struggling. The foil, it is working. The tunneling is not as bad, but it's still like she's going through it. I managed to get through chapter 6, taking notes, and then I kind of got derailed. We had our meeting with the financial advisor lady, which was good, and then what? I worked on editing this video because I haven't touched any of the footage up until this point. So I was working on that for a little bit, and then we had dinner. It was BLTs and broccoli salad. Banger dinner, and now I'm back here. So I think I'm actually gonna finish going through the footage I've accrued so far and finish editing up the, sort of rough cutting the vlog. And we'll come back to this tomorrow. I think I can finish this tomorrow. It's my last day of my 4-day weekend, and I have nothing else to do. So we're gonna get up, we're gonna get ourselves put together, and then get to work. I think I can do it. Anyway, that's it for today. I will see you on Tuesday. Good morning, happy Tuesday. It is a sad day because this is my last day off of my 4-day weekend. That's fine, it's fine. The goal for today. I really want to finish making my little checklisty note stuff on the side of my Scrivener document here, and I think I can do it today. I have basically the whole book. I'm on chapter 7 out of 40 essentially. So I can do it. I can do it. I think there's a good chunk of chapters in Act 2 that are basically going to be unchanged. So there's going to be several chapters here where I can essentially just like skip over it. So yeah, I think I can finish the little checklist stuff today. And then the other thing I want to do is make like a master checklist, because I was thinking about like, oh, I'm gonna have to change this, I'm gonna have to rewrite this, I'm gonna do. And I was getting you know, when you're at like the beginning of a project and you're like, oh my gosh, I have so much work to do. And I was thinking about like the deadline I'd given myself, and just sort of, I was feeling a little bit of pressure on just all the stuff I'm gonna have to do here. And a checklist number 1 will definitely help me, because I like to lay out how many days do I have to do this work, and how, like, breaking it down day by day, you know, how many chapters I'm going to need to do per day in order to meet the deadline. And I have plenty of time. There's 50 days from today. It's November 11th. I have 50 days until the end of December. I only have 40 chapters, and not all of them are going to require any revision, or a lot of them will just have like very minor revisions. There's really only a handful of chapters, I think, that are going to require like a good chunk of rewriting. So I feel okay. I was like, okay, yeah, that's fine. And then I'll still have that week, the first week in January, to actually like read the whole book again from top to bottom and fiddle. Anyway, I also have upcoming work breaks. We have Thanksgiving coming up in a couple weeks, so I'll have off like an extra day, you know, for that. And then Christmas, I like taking off the week from between Christmas and New Year's. So I'll have that week completely free of pretty much everything, and I can do a massive amount of work at that point. There's no need to panic. We're fine. It'll get done. That's the other thing, is I think, again, when you're at like the beginning of a project where you're like, oh, it's so much to do. I have a deadline, and I'm the type of person that meets deadlines. Unless I've been put in the hospital for a week or something, like I'm gonna meet that deadline. And so in my head, I'm like, by January 9th, this is gonna be done. Like, that's it. And that's not really that far away. It's technically less than 2 months from now. I don't know, something about like thinking of it in that way, like I will be done with this by January 9th. Period, end of story. So yeah, let me get to work. It's just after 8:30 and I'm ready to work. Also, I'm sorry, I did turn on the heat last night. I know, but it was dipping down into the 30s. So I feel like that's justifiable. And it is on right now, because last I looked, it was 39 degrees outside, which again for Texas is like sub-zero temperatures. Oh, it's up to 41 now, but I'm gonna leave the heat on for just a teeny bit longer. And that's supposed to be up to 70 today. So, and then 80 again tomorrow. I hate this. Oh gosh. Anyway, all right. Let me work. Let me work and forget about the stupid weather. Jade is here to help. Right? Are you gonna help me work? Are you gonna help me work? Do you need anything? Well, you do? What do you need? What do you need? Is it time for a special snack? Oh, a special snack! Oh! Okay, so it's 11:30 and I think I'm done. Yeah, I've added all my little bullet point notes to each chapter. If there are some chapters where I'm like, I don't think anything needs to change here. So I'll certainly still like read through them, but I don't think anything needs to change. Most chapters have at least something. There's a handful of chapters that have nothing. Most have something. But a lot of them are just like, add like a line or two about this, tweak this dialogue a tiny bit to fit with this new thing, you know? So I don't think there's going to be a huge amount of work for the vast majority of these. Don't laugh at me. I think most of the work is going to come in the last couple chapters. The ending! We're gonna redo the ending! No, we're not redoing the ending again. We're not redoing the ending again. No, we're shifting the ending slightly. It's still the same concept for how things are resolved at the end. We're changing the setting. Okay, so instead of it being a ball at the end, we're shifting it to the whole panorama thing. So anyway, because of that, I'll have to shift, like they can't be dancing and talking at the same time because that's not what's happening. So anyway, I'll have to shift around like the setting portion of it, but most of that is still going to be like the same stuff is happening. It's just in a different location. I'm feeling very good about this. I like the changes. I like that this, now that it's like written out, I'm feeling much more confident in, I can definitely finish this in 50 days. Like, I feel like I've done bigger revisions in less time before. So I'm feeling good about this. I'm going to take a little break, get some lunch going for myself. And then this afternoon, I'll do that like checklist and kind of break down, you know, when do I want to have Act 1 finished by? When do I want to have Act 2 finished by? And all that kind of stuff. I like having like mini deadlines just to make sure I'm not working too slowly. I don't know. Anyway, so we'll work on that this afternoon. I'm going to take my little break for now. But I'm really pleased with this. I'm really excited. There's some extra little things she said it was okay to put in. I'm like, I'm putting it in. I'm putting this in. I'm very excited. So anyway, I'll be back this afternoon and we'll do some more work. I need you to know that between this blankie and the heating pad I have on my lap, I am literally so incredibly cozy right now. I've got the little hand mitts too. In the sweater, I'm doing so good. So, lunch is done. I'm going to make my checklist. I even have like a brand new Post-it note pad. The old one was pink. Now we're on yellow. I mean, honestly, just winning at life over here. So I'm going to get out my planner and I've got my pen. I think, yes, I've got my stuff up on the computer screen. I'm going to make a little list. And then as I finish things, I get to check them off, which is so incredibly rewarding. This shouldn't take like a super long time, but let's dive in. Now hear me out. Did I need to do this? Did I actually need to do all this? Answer, no, I did not. However, I'm kind of obsessed with it. Listen, here's what I did. I have all the chapters down the side. There's a little page break for the different acts. So Act 2 starts in chapter 11, right? And then I ranked each chapter based on how many changes I think there will be, or like how much, you know, the difficulty level of the changes. Am I just needing to tweak a little bit of dialogue? That's not very difficult, so I put that as like a 3, which is minor changes. If I am going to need to like delete big portions or like rewrite portions, that's like a difficulty 1 for major changes. 4 is like there's basically nothing to change. 2 is just sort of in the middle. So anyway, I ranked everything and then I did an average for each act. And it turns out, interestingly, Act 3 is the one that has, or no, Act 4 is the one that's the most difficult. It has the lowest number, which according to my chart makes it the most difficult, which makes sense. I am going to be changing a lot there. But interesting that Act 3 is actually the one with the least changes. I was expecting it to be Act 2. It's not like it's far off, but anyway. So I did that, and then I went through and I thought, okay, when can I have each of these chapters done by? So I'm trying to give myself like plenty of time, so I'm not rushing. But obviously, if I have a chapter with like a 4, which is basically no changes, I don't need a whole lot of time to do that. So like for these, I'm going to finish these 2 and these 2 on the 15th, which is a Saturday. So I have like more time on the weekends. And yeah, so I went through and I was, again, being very generous in terms of like not overloading myself. According to this, I should be done by the first week in December. So maybe I'll have this done well before Christmas. I mean, like thinking about having all of this done by December 4th sounds kind of crazy, but also that's like a month from now, almost 3.5 weeks, whatever. So maybe that is I don't know. If this doesn't work, like I have plenty of wiggle room. I've got like a full month of wiggle room essentially in here. I'm really excited about this. I think this should be realistic. So that's great. So if this takes me longer than December 4th, that's fine. But it would be really nice to be completely 100% done with this entire draft before Christmas. That would be great because then I could send it to my editor, get it off my plate. I could have an actual break. Although I get so bored, I don't know. But anyway, we'll see. It doesn't really matter. If I need to use that time to work on stuff, I can. But yeah, I would love to get this back to her way earlier than I was anticipating. So we'll see how it goes. If I need to change some of this around, I will. But for now, it seems like a pretty good plan. And I think that's where we're going to leave this vlog. Actually, we got through my main goal for this weekend, which was to get this, you know, all settled in terms of what am I changing, where am I changing it, get a checklist for myself, organize my brain, and I feel very prepared. So tomorrow is Wednesday, my dudes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So because I've had Monday, Tuesday off, tomorrow's going to feel like Monday, but it's not. It's actually Wednesday, and that's going to throw off my entire sense of everything. But I'm going to start tomorrow morning, 5 a.m. I'm going to be up and I'll be working on this and hopefully get through chapter 1 tomorrow. That should be pretty doable. And I'll see you back here again on Friday, hopefully. So let me know in the comments if you have any questions about how I'm doing this or what I'm doing or anything in particular that you don't understand what's going on. I'm happy to answer. But for now, if you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, you can click the subscribe button. I usually post videos on Fridays. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great rest of your day and I will see you next time. Bye.